Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing? We're back, the Young Fan Podcast, on a Saturday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. What is going on? Ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? And welcome to what will be, hopefully will be a fantastic episode of the podcast that I'm extremely excited about, because Oxford United last night, live on Sky Sports, got themselves a win, 2-1 against Lincoln City. Absolutely buzzing about it. A fantastic 3 points in a 2-1 victory that I don't think a lot of people expected to win. I really, really don't. Lincoln weren't in great form, nor were we, but we came out and we got the biggest 3 points on such a big occasion. Charlie says big 3 points last night, 100%. The reason why there wasn't one last night was mainly because I didn't really want to do one at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. I thought it'd be better if we did it in the morning, then we can get a few people in here midday on a Saturday and we can speak about the game, we can digest it, and then we can crack straight on talking about it. I've been intrigued to see what you people think actually of the game as well, because I'm always going to be reading your thoughts out and talking about it. Kaja says, nice goal by Taylor. It was a very, very good finish. Not many people, I think, and it's a really, really good point, not many people, I think, will talk about that finish and talk about that goal as a good one. That's not an easy strike to pull off. It's on sort of like the half volley sort of thing. It's a really, really good effort and an important goal as well, because we spoke about it on Tuesday. The stream hasn't actually gone up as a video, but if you were here on Tuesday after that Northampton absolute disaster, we spoke about how the season is over and how I believe the playoffs are bottled and any chances of getting top six are over after that result. I'm not going to come on here now and say that I think we're definitely going to go and do it. The title of the stream is Season Back On. It is a little bit of a question behind that, but I genuinely do believe that could be a result that we use and use with great effect to go on and push on to have a really, really good finish to the season. We've got a very, very difficult game on Friday, but we won't talk about that just yet. We might come on to that, but we're going to talk about yesterday's game more importantly. We've got a break, and quite a long break. The players have got quite a long break now between now and the game on next Friday against Sunderland. Another very, very difficult game, this time against a team that are in very, very good form. But yeah, season is back on. We're level on points with the team in 6th, but again, Blackpool and Doncaster, I've got like 3 games in hand on Oxford United, but again, we're only 6 points behind Lincoln, and they play the same amount of games as us. So yeah, it's very, very tight. It's very, very strange. It's a really interesting season, and it could come down to the final games. It could come down to I'll guarantee it will come down to literal 2-3 points. I think coming into the end of the season, maybe even goal difference. It's going to be extremely tight, but I'm looking forward to it. And Oxford United yesterday, I think, definitely did keep that alive, or any slim hope of getting to the playoffs last night. We definitely fueled that, and that was fantastic. And the performance to go with it as well was a really, really professional job. I think that's the most important thing. Charlie says Barker, Sykes, Henry all played well. I think you're spot on as well. We look at that starting lineup as well. It's a very, very different starting lineup to the team we saw against Northampton. The back line is pretty much the same. I think it is exactly the same. But then obviously the midfield against Northampton, we saw Grayson, Gorin, and Brannigan. Yesterday we saw Brannigan, Sykes, and Henry. So we got a very, very different midfield three, but a very, very attacking one. A really, really exciting attacking middle three. And when I saw that lineup, I was very, very excited about it. I was very, very excited because it was a lineup and a middle three. Definitely are going to cause the opposition issues going forward. I didn't think we had a lot of defensive stability. Of course, obviously we do now know the news that Gorin has got a minor injury, which could be a bit of an issue, and hopefully it doesn't affect us too much. And Gorin is a very, very important player, and I stand by saying that. And hopefully it isn't too much of a serious one, but. Again, we saw Brannigan sitting there in front of that defence, more of a holding midfielder yesterday. I don't think he did a bad job at all. I thought he did a really, really good job. And Sykes and Henry in front of him as well were very, very effective. Henry was back after a long time out. Well, a long time. It was a few games, wasn't it? Out injured, quite a long time. When you think about how many games you have to play in League One this season, there's a lot of games. They come thick and fast. So it's very, very, very annoying when you sort of miss games. You see players miss games. So yeah. Henry was back in the team yesterday, and I'd love to see Harry back in there. I thought he had a really, really, really good game, as Charlie said. I thought he was back to his best. And that front three as well, Barker, Taylor, Shodipo. Taylor back in the starting lineup as well. Barker back into that starting lineup. And Shodipo as well. Did Shodipo play against Northampton? I don't think he did. He might have played against Northampton. I'm not entirely sure if he started from them. But generally a really, really good team to start off with. Very, very different, very, very offensive, like I said. But it was always going to... And this is what we want to see. We want to see... that's what I want to see. I want to see Carl Robinson definitely experiment, definitely sort of play with, on that front foot, play with on the edge, and make Oxford United really, really deadly on attack. And I think we did that with that starting lineup, and I definitely think it proved that. Charlie says, I'm a little bit worried about Ruffles. How long will be out for? Yep, of course, yep, Ruffles. I don't know, but Ruffles did obviously come off injured yesterday. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, because Ruffles is an extremely important player. However, Ruffles coming off, and Anthony Ford coming on. He obviously scored the equaliser, literally with his first touch as well. So, you don't know these sort of things. Obviously, we would much rather have Ruffles in that position at left back. Grayson didn't even come on, who's I thought would be our sort of second-hand man at left back. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but hopefully, like we said, it's not too serious. But I'm confident, hopefully, that with I'm confident that Ruffles isn't too much of a long-term injury, but again, he was taken off, which isn't a great sign. If we go through, obviously we conceded after 3 minutes as well. We'll talk about how the game went. Please do leave a like on the stream as well, and do subscribe if you're new as always, and do give your thoughts in the chat. Of course, I'll be reading all of them out as per usual. But we'll talk about how the game went. We went 1-0 down after 3 minutes. Scully scored for Lincoln. I think when that went in, I think a lot of us were probably fearing for the worst, as I think you would be. You'd be very, very worried about when you concede a really, really early goal like that. It's not just an early goal, that's an extremely early goal, 3 minutes into the game. And then it was also a really sloppy goal as well. It wasn't really a brilliant goal from Lincoln at all. It was very, very sloppy. It was a really, really weak down that right-hand side. Hansen got caught out. The whole of the right side, I'd say, got caught out. And that was a really, really disappointing goal to concede. We had to get on with it, though. We had to sort of just, get ourselves together and sort of forget the fact that we were 1-0 down, and not really play the game as if we were chasing it, even though we were, that looking at the score. But we had to sort of pretend like we weren't. We had to pretend like, it wasn't 1-0. And we were still sort of going for the game, as we would do, whether or not it, even if we hadn't gone 1-0 down in the game. But I think it was a good response. I was writing that down. It was a good response from going 1-0 down. I think that's the most important thing as well. We didn't really let us affect us. I think in previous weeks, I think we have done that. Against Hull, I think that did affect us a little bit when we went 1-0 down against Hull. We went on to lose that game 2-0 in the end. Blackpool as well. We never really got going when we conceded. So we've over the time, we really have tended to really struggle with, and to I guess struggle, and definitely not get back to, and definitely. I'm trying to find the best way to put it, but not letting that first goal phase us and affect us. I think that's the most important thing. I'm glad we didn't let us do that. Henry, again, like we've already said, had a great game. Seeing him back in the starting lineup was absolutely fantastic, and I'm buzzing to see, that he's back in that starting lineup. I thought it was really, really good. Causing those shots from outside the box. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Oxford, creating those chances, but still losing. But we found our feet, and I think that's the most important thing. Like we've been saying, when you go 1-0 down, how do you react to that? And when you go 1-0 down early, it could be an absolute disaster. So you've got to try and get back as quickly as possible and sort it out. And I thought we did do that eventually. Also, penalty as well. Interested to see what you think about the penalty. In my opinion, I think that's a blatant penalty. I really, really do. I think that penalty should be given. It was a foul. Blatantly, I think he kicked the back of Atkinson's leg in the end. When it first saw it, it actually looked like Hansen and Atkinson were both going for the same ball. They sort of tackled each other. But actually, looking back on it, there was contact on Atkinson, and that should have been a penalty. But we've already mentioned that Rumphel's injury as well. Anthony Ford scoring with his first touch as well, which is great. And great to see Anthony Ford coming in with the goals, and to see a non-forward player come with the goals as well. We haven't seen a lot of midfield goals this season at all. And I know Anthony Ford was coming in at right back, but I generally thought we had a really, really good game. Even when he taking the goal away from him, I thought he came into the game well, and I was very, very impressed with Anthony Ford. I've always liked Anthony Ford. I think he's a really, really good player. I was really, really impressed with him and the way that he came into this game. I thought he did a really, really good job. Obviously, there's a talking point from a Lincoln point of view, and that is the red card possibility towards Stevens. It wasn't given; it was a yellow card in the end. It was the actual, that was what was given. And that's what the referee decided to give. it was very, very similar to that MK Dons one, wasn't it, a few weeks ago, that actually went against Oxford United. We didn't get given it in the end, and I thought that was a little bit disappointing. We definitely thought that was really, really disappointing against MK Dons, and yesterday it sort of happened against us. So we've sort of got, a little bit of karma, I guess, there, but the opposite of karma, sort of reverse karma. It was, in my opinion, it looks... it does look like Atkinson is sort of going to catch up with it. It isn't a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity. However, when you watch it back again, when he does go round Stevens, it probably is an open goal, and he taps it in with no defender. And if that is the case, then that is denying a clear and obvious goal. And in that case, it should be a red card. Really interesting. Intrigued to see what you people think of it. For me, it probably is. A red card. I know that I would be wanting that to see it. I know I'd be wanting to see a red card if that was for me. I know how I felt against MK Dons when we weren't given that, and that is very frustrating. That is very, very frustrating from their point of view. But from us, it doesn't matter, does it? From us, it doesn't really matter at all. We got away with it. We didn't get given against MK Dons. Lincoln didn't get it tonight. So, it's one of those. It'd be interesting. I'm sure loads and loads of Lincoln fans, and understandably Lincoln fans, would be very frustrated about it. But for me, it probably is a red card. But again, it wasn't given, so it doesn't really matter. They were a very physical Lincoln side as well. That's a really important thing. We'll talk about the physicality of Lincoln. And we knew Lincoln were going to be a good team. We speak about them not being in the best of form and them not being on the best of runs. However, we know what Micheal Appleton and how Micheal Appleton sets up his football teams. He did it fantastically well when he was here. He's got a really, really good Lincoln side at the moment, playing good football there. And you can see what at the start of the season Lincoln were doing very, very well. They had different, there were things off the pitch that affected them. Please do give your thoughts in the chat as well. We've got a few people watching now as well on this midday on Saturday, which is very, very bizarre time to do a live stream. But hopefully you're all enjoying it, and please do give your thoughts. But yeah, they had a lot of things off the pitch, I think, that affected them. You talk about COVID test. They had a positive COVID test, didn't they? But that didn't affect the game at all, really, in terms of the game carried on. The game wasn't affected by that. It would have affected Lincoln's team selection, I guess, because apparently, I don't know too much about the player that got the positive test, but I believe he was a very, very important player to this Lincoln team. What did I say? It was Jackson. Was that his name? It might not have been, but I know he's a centre half, and I know he's a really, really important player to that Lincoln side. And if that happened to us, I understand it's very frustrating. But they went about it in a professional way, and fair play to Lincoln for doing that. I thought they did. I thought they dealt with that situation very, very well. But going sort of back to how Lincoln played, they're a very, very well organised team. They're on a bit of a dodgy run at the moment, but I still think they're probably going to get top 6. I just sort of got that feeling in Lincoln that they're really not a bad team. They're a pretty good team. So, you do feel like they will still have enough to get over the line. Do I think we're going to have enough to get it over the line and potentially get a win? Get finish in the top 6? I don't know. It's interesting. I don't really know. I think it's a strange one. I want to say we do. Sort of the fan side of me, of course, says we do, and I really hope we can do that. But at the same time, I also know there's a lot of competitive teams and a lot of great teams also in the fight with us, and also really wanting to get into the top 6, as you can imagine. We are joint on points with Blackpool, but Blackpool and Doncaster have got 3 games in hand on us, so we're probably going to have to catch up. We need Doncaster and Blackpool to drop points, but Blackpool are in great form, so it's really, really difficult, and a difficult way to really, really difficult thing to sort of judge and look at. But I really hope Oxford can do it. I really, really hope we can pull through, and I hope that we can do that. And yesterday definitely gave me a little bit more confidence. We've got a very, very difficult game on Friday. Like I said, it's a really, really difficult game. Sunderland away. Sunderland are in very, very good form, and it's never an easy place to go, the Stadium of Light. And I hope that we can go there. And after a win yesterday, it sounds crazy, I probably would take a point. On next Friday, I probably would take a point, because we've got then sort of a run of games where I do expect Oxford United to win. So yeah, I mean, if we go there and win against Sunderland, I think that's great. But winning yesterday, I think was very, very important and hugely, and could be a huge thing and a huge result in our sort of push for the playoffs. If anyone else has got any thoughts on the game, please do let us know. I thought we pressed really well today as well. I did think that, it wasn't all perfect, but I thought generally it was a very, very solid performance. And at this point in the season, it's a business, it's a business game. It is all about getting the results. Not really, it is about performance, obviously, but if you don't put in the perfect performance, but you get a result, that's important as well. Tom Merris is going to be tough. We need to win most of our games from here on out. 100% we do. I probably would say, we win to most of them. I don't think we have to beat Sunderland, but then after that, we've got games we should be winning, and they're the games we've got to be getting the 3 points in 100%. Paul says, didn't expect that win, especially after go 1-0 down so early. Not complaining though. No complaints, but I understand what you mean. It was very, very difficult to see this side go 1-0 down, because we do get affected when we go 1-0 down. You can see it. It's so clear how, we're not great when we go 1-0 down. When we go from behind this season, we have struggled to turn it around. We have struggled to try and fight back and get a result. Yesterday, we had that fight. We had that desire. We played very, very well. It didn't let us phase us, and we got away with the 3 points, and that's the most important thing. Yeah, Lincoln were a good side. I think at times Lincoln probably did... Lincoln will have an argument, I'm sure, for different reasons. A handball in there as well was a possible shout, but then there's a penalty in our end. So there's decisions, and there the referee definitely will. There are obviously a few sort of refereeing decisions and viewpoints I'm sure will be spoken about. But at the end of the day, it's very, very important that Oxford United got the points. That's all I really care about. And I was very, very impressed with it. My man of the match would probably be James Henry. I know officially Oxford United did give it to James Henry. I'd probably have to agree with them. I probably would. I probably would give James Henry that man of the match. I thought it was very, very good. It's quality pressing, winning the ball back for that second goal, a bursting run obviously down that right-hand side, and then putting a good ball in, and that connection again between, I know there was a sort of a Sykes header, but again, it was that Henry ball into the box that's so effective, and who, guess who's at the end of it? Of course, it's Matty Taylor. That's what I love about it. And it was a really, really good finish, as we mentioned, by Matty Taylor. But really, really happy with the result. Really, really happy with the win. I think that could mean something. However, we spoke about it. Doncaster was a very, very good result, but we didn't take it into Blackpool. Sorry, there was a game in between that, wasn't it? Was that? No. That was Doncaster to, Doncaster Blackpool. We had a great result against Doncaster. Didn't really take it into Blackpool at all. Blackpool then, we didn't have anything to take into Northampton, and we didn't change the way. However, a very difficult game against Lincoln, and we did turn up. We did play very, very well, and we showed, great, I thought we were very, very professional. We did a very, very professional job, and that's what I love about this Oxford United team yesterday. It was just a very, very good job. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything outstanding. It wasn't anything brilliant, but it was a professional, well done result, and that's what we need sometimes. Sometimes you do have to grind for results and scrap for results. I don't think it was a scrappy game at all. I thought it was a very, very good game in terms of there were two teams playing very, very good football, but it was a battle. It was a tough battle that Oxford United needed to win if we had a slim chance of finishing the top six, and I thought we did do that, and that's what I love about it, and I'm very, very happy about that. We'll talk about one negative, and that is Shodipo. I thought Shodipo did have quite a sloppy game yesterday. We speak about it quite a lot. I think Shodipo is a moments player. I keep saying it, but I think he is. He's a player that sometimes he performs moments of brilliance, and then I thought yesterday again he sort of fell back into that same, I guess, trap of not being as effective and not affecting the game as well as we know he can, and that's disappointing. The first touch and he danced around a little bit. Didn't really sort of affect the game in the way that we can do. Normally his dribbles are extremely effective, but yesterday they were not effective enough, and that's disappointing. But hopefully, like we said, with time, I know he's only on loan, but as I look at it from a player point of view, with time I think he will grow. He's got the attributes to be a good player, but right now he's not always showing it, which I don't expect to see it. But yesterday I didn't think he had his best of games. But other than that, I thought generally the rest of the players were really, really good. Barker, like Charlie mentioned earlier, was really, really good. Sykes I thought was really effective. Henry as well I thought was a really, really good player back into the starting lineup. I would have given him man of the match. Defensively I thought we were quite strong, even with Ruffles coming out and obviously then having to switch Hansen and Ford coming on as well. That was a difficult change that Carl Robinson had to make, but it definitely worked, and I'm very, very happy about it. And that midfield three as well, full of creativity, full of offensive danger, and we definitely capitalised it, and I'm very, very happy with it. If anyone else has got any more things they'd like to say, please do leave a like and subscribe as well. I understand it's not an ideal time to do a live stream, but I definitely had to do one. I definitely had to speak about it. I'm back, of course. I am going to get a podcast episode out before Friday. I've got a really, really interesting one coming out as well. If you haven't watched the Nick Harris interview as well, please do check that Nick Harris interview out. That was the last podcast episode I did. I really enjoyed doing that. It was a really, really good podcast episode. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here. We've been live for about 20 minutes. I think we spoke about everything. A great result. We're on the grasp. We're in, we're in touching distance now of actually being in the playoff spot. We're joint points, just goal difference separates us from the top 6. But we need to take this momentum. They've got a week off now, just under a week off now. But they've got time to sort of relax, rest, and then straight back out at a very, very difficult game at Sunderland on Friday. I don't really know when we're going to do the live stream for that Sunderland game. I probably won't do it on the Saturday. I probably might try and do it after the game. I'm not entirely sure. I probably will try and do that after the game. Hopefully you have a good rest of your weekend. We have now got Saturday and a Sunday to talk about. Not have to watch Oxford United. I love watching Oxford United, but having a Friday game was very, very different. But it is over. The football's over now for the weekend for Oxford United, which is very, very strange. Anyway, thank you everybody that's been watching, listened, and interacted as always. Please leave a like and subscribe. I've been Jack. This has been the Unfan Podcast. Like I said, have a good rest of your weekend, and I'll see you